Hi crafty folks. So today we're going to talk about thread and what kind of thread you want to use for which project you're going to do. Now I've got an assortment of thread here. So this first thread that we're going to talk about is mercerized cotton covered polyester. So it's a cotton poly blend. It doesn't particularly say what percentage it is. So the mercerized cotton is a cotton that's been treated with a special type of chemical, so it makes it shiny and it also makes it so it's going to readily pick up dyes. So if you constructed a bag and then you wanted to dye it, you could use mercerized cotton and then the thread would become dyed as well. So the polyester is probably just in there to add strength to it. So you'll see some cotton poly blends in threads, and this says it's all purpose, so you could use it, on a lot of projects. The next thread that we have here is a rayon thread. So rayon is a type of fiber that is made out of wood pulp. So that aspect of it makes it a natural fiber, but then they treat it with enough chemicals that it is considered semi-natural, because it has been altered by those chemical processes. So this one specifically says it's for decorative sewing. So this could be used in embroidery or stitching on top of a bag or a quilt, that would be shown from the outside. It's very shiny, but the fact that it's decorative means it may not have the strength and ability to withstand being used as the main thread for construction of a garment or a bag or something like that. This next one is 100% mercerized cotton. The brand here is Coats & Clark, which is a fine brand. So this light colored mercerized cotton would be great for if you are going to tie-dye something, but you want to construct it before you tie-dye it, and you want the threads to also be dyed with the fabric dye that you're going to use. As long as the fabric that you're using is cotton, then this mercerized cotton is a good option. My favorite thread that I use for almost everything is Gutermann. I think that's how you pronounce it. And this is 100% polyester. I use it on pretty much all of my fabric, whether it's cotton or polyester, whether it's for constructing clothing or constructing bags or making coasters. The only thing is if someone has a polyester allergy, then it might not be good for them. And also, if you're making one of those bowl cozies that's going to go in the microwave, you don't want to use anything that's polyester because it will burn in the microwave. So that's just something to know. So I have this Gutermann thread in various shapes and sizes and colors. This one is also Gutermann. So you can get it on sale. It is great to have in many colors. And the last one here that I have on hand is Coats & Clark 100% polyester. It says dual duty, all purpose. So again, I would use this just the same as I use my Gutermann thread. I use it on pretty much everything. And I like it. I find that the Gutermann thread, I can get spools that are larger and last me a longer time, but I don't have anything against Coats & Clark specifically. But if I'm shopping, I tend to shop by brand. I tend to go for the Gutermann. If I'm looking for just a little bit of thread that's going to match a little project that I'm going to do, I might go with the Coats & Clark because I tend to be able to get a smaller amount of it for cheaper. So then I don't have, large spools of tons of that colored thread laying around. Now, how do you know which thread to use with which project you're going to do? So a little bit of it is preference. As I said, I use polyester thread on lots of projects that I do, whether I'm sewing cotton or polyester or woven fabric, meaning non-stretchy fabric, or knit fabric, meaning stretchy fabric. So I use polyester thread, and specifically this Gutermann stuff, on a lot of projects that I do. Other than that, I don't have different colored threads for every single fabric type and color that I'm gonna do, I tend to either use a black thread or a white thread or a gray thread. And I have two sewing machines. They are both heavy duty, and I keep one of them loaded completely with black thread and a black bobbin, and then the other one is loaded with white thread and a white bobbin. So if I'm doing multiple projects and I'm doing them all sort of in a line and they need different colors of thread, I just bounce back and forth between my two machines. Now, the only place where it might become really important to have a specific type of thread is if you are doing historical reproductions or something like that. They were very specific about the type of thread that they used and the type of fabrics that they used. They obviously didn't have polyester or spandex or lycra or all of those things. They didn't have, you know, the types of dyes that we generally use nowadays. They tended to use cotton thread or silk thread. So if you're going to be doing a project that needs to be historically accurate, then you're going to want to research your specific thread for that. But otherwise, any of this, you know, sort of all-purpose, the polyester or a cotton polyester blend, any of those sorts of things is probably going to work just fine for most, you know, run-of-the-mill projects. I specifically like the polyester thread because polyester doesn't shrink when you wash it and dry it. So especially if you're doing a project with like quilting cotton. So a lot of people, they don't wash their quilting cotton before they construct their quilt. And I believe they use cotton thread when quilting. And then when they finish their quilt and it's all put together and bound and everything, and then it goes in the washer and the dryer, it creates that crinkle effect because all of the fabric squares or whatever shapes they are that made up the quilt, they all shrink a little bit, and it creates that nice little squishy, squeezy crinkle effect. So that is something that is known to happen with quilting cotton and cotton fabric and cotton thread. So if you want to avoid that, then what I do with all of my cotton fabric, because I don't quilt, and I don't particularly care about that crinkly effect. When I get all of my fabric home from the fabric shop, I wash it and dry it on high heat before it goes on my shelves, so that when I want to do a project with it, I can just pull it out and immediately use it. I also do that with my apparel fabrics, even if they are polyester. As long as they're safe to go in the washer and dryer, I wash them all beforehand, because you never know what sort of remnants of chemicals or dyes or things are going to be on those fabrics from shipping and storage and this and that. And you just want to make sure that your fabric is clean before you start cutting into it, and you know, all that fabric dust gets into the air and you're breathing it in. Anyway, all that working with the fabric, you want to make sure that the fabric has at least been washed and dried once, so that you're not at risk of taking in chemicals from it. That's just the way that I do it and my reasoning for doing it. So that is all I have to say about threads and fabric today. I went off on a little tangent here. So I hope you like this video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. That really helps me. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to be doing these sewing videos regularly.